the simulators come quite close in terms of feeling and you know, how the car reacts to your inputs to the car. But of course, there's always going to be the forces that are lacking, and I guess the adrenaline that comes with driving a Formula 1 car at high speed. Unfortunately, I don't think there's ever going to be a way to replicate that. But again, you know, it comes very close, and I do think you can kind of learn to drive a Formula 1 car in a simulator so that you would get in the real thing and not be so bad, I think. If you just take this imaginary scenario where you take two people that have never driven a Formula 1 car before and you make one of them do 1,000 hours in a simulator and the other one 0, 100% the guy with 1,000 hours in the sim would be 1,000 times better in the Formula 1 car. In terms of pre-race rituals, I have some that are just basic stuff, like, you know, certain times that I eat, and you know, I need to drink, you know, start really hydrating a certain amount of time before the race or whatever, and you know, I get ready in my gear at a certain time before the sessions. I'm not very superstitious, but I think I have some habits that I tend not to deviate from. Put my left sock on first, then the right, and then, you know, I put my fireproof underwear, you know, the underpants on, and then the top, and then the shoes. You know, I always put the left on first, and I don't know why I do that. It's just kind of habit, and I don't like going away from that. I like to just keep it as it's always been. I'd say my goal with partnering Asetek is to make a product, or help make a product that, you know, anyone can get hold of, that is actually as close to the real thing as possible. I think there's a lot of products out there that, you know, do the job. You know, they're fun, but they're not representative of anything real. And I think that if you develop these products with people from the real racing world, I think you're gonna get a better crossover. And I'd like to think that, you know, that there is a group of people that are hyper good at driving esports. You know, that would be seconds faster than anything I would ever get close to in a simulator. And then you get this other group that are racers, real-world racers that use simulators as a tool to get better at real-world racing. And I think if you can make some sort of crossover there, I think that becomes very interesting. I don't think it has to be two different separate worlds. Of course, there's going to be different, you know, demands or preferences depending on whether you're a full-time esports driver or a full-time racing real-world race driver. But making that connection and crossover, I think, is very interesting. I would say Nordschleife is a track that I would love to. It's not very realistic. These cars nowadays wouldn't cope with it, but I envy that a lot. You know, for the Formula 1 drivers back in the 60s and 70s that drove on the Nordschleife. Same deal with the old Spa. Those are two places that I'd love to drive. I think it always comes back to the classic historic days. There's tracks like Mille Miglia, which is crazy, you know, to think, you know, where they were racing. I think even at certain times there was like not even closed down for the public traffic. I think they just did the race with everyone on the street still. So I just sometimes, you know, fantasize about those days, and I think it just seemed like such a crazy time. There's a lot of historic cars that I'd love to try. I would say the MP44 sort of stands out in my mind as the most beautiful and the most dominant race car. There's been some recent Mercedes in Formula 1 that were very dominant, but I just feel like that at that time it was such a groundbreaking race car in Formula 1, and I think I would go for that one.